So, I like to normally start lectures, some of the lectures, with this quote from Boston Consulting Group. And they think of technology when they talk about this, but they said what seems impossible today may very well be possible tomorrow. And mainly that's because of so much innovation that is happening across tech. Excuse me, I got a bit cold. That's mainly because of so much innovation that is happening at the moment in tech industry. So the industry is being, if you will, brought up to another level, thanks to connected devices, thanks to upgraded cloud systems, right, and smart technologies. We are in another level now, right? So almost anything that we want can happen nowadays because of huge improvement, huge progresses in the industry, right? And so that leads me to today's session, which is about how we can build a social presence. In previous weeks, we introduced social networking and why that's important, right? We talked about the idea of how you could get started, right, with social networks. And we looked into the ideas of getting a clear understanding as to what social networks actually are. So we defined social networks, right? We looked at the features of social networks with the focus of business. So we looked at specific business features on social networks and why they matter, right? And today we're moving on into the action-based tasks, if you will, which are about getting started yourself and building up that social presence online. And before we get into that, I need to ask you, do you know what's trending today on Twitter? Anyone can tell me what's trending on Twitter today?
Fashion.
You mentioned fashion.
Fashion week, yeah.
I don't think it is fashion, unless it's changed in the last 15 minutes. It could be, but I think what's trending today is Monday motivation, right? And this sort of gift picture from BBC Three was quite a popular one to get people motivated to go to work on Monday. The penguin getting ready to go to work, right? So it's quite important to realize that whatever company you're talking about today, you've got to engage in that conversation online that is trending at the moment, right? So if you go on Twitter now, the reason I'm showing this is because BBC Three has received quite a bit of, right, attention because of this, because of the content that they published. And not just because the content they published was just out there, but the content that is related to a trend. So whatever you publish online, if you can relate that piece of content to a specific trend, then you can be in the winning side of social media, right? So we'll probably try that later on today, but if we could pick up a trend and tweet out in that trend using that hashtag of our views or our ideas that we have, it'd be quite nice to see whether we can get some of that attention. Now you might wonder, why does it matter to get some of that attention? Right? Well, if you get some of that attention, you can get some of that traffic to your site, right? And if you've got a website, you can get some of that traffic to your website. And if your website is selling something or is getting people to register or subscribe, you can get some of that too. So the whole idea that it pays to get to reach out to people and also get some of that attention at your site. Now, to get that attention, you've got to be clever. You've got to have some ideas that click, some ideas that people like. So what you're doing, you're joining a crowd, right, with something new. Whether it's an idea, or approach, an answer, a question, right? How many times you read something on Facebook that was trending, you went in with a question and became so popular? Or in general, you can see that in comments sections on almost every social network, from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. Because social networks let you rate, if you will, or like, the comments that you think are the most appropriate. So same with Twitter. If someone thought that your tweet on that trend is quite popular, they start retweeting it. So suddenly you're quite popular. And in addition to that, you might end up, by getting some of that attention, you might end up getting more followers too. So your overall popularity online grows. And that's what brands do all the time. How many times you notice the brand joining a conversation from nowhere? Sometimes it's Monday motivation. Sometimes it's about football, whatever it is. The brands join in. Why? Because there's so much going on about that trend. There are hundreds of thousands of people talking around that trend at that very specific time. And if you can get some of that attention, you can get some of that business. So that's why trending matters. Now that leads me to some of the key points in this session that we want to cover. Well, to be able to build a social presence online and succeed with it, you first and foremost need to understand and clarify for yourself what your aim is. What is it you're trying to get out of it? Which is something that a huge amount of people ignore. So they go in, just build up something and nothing connects. But you've got to know, what is your aim? What is you trying to do? Are you trying to promote your skills? Are you trying to promote your company? Are you trying to promote your services? What is that you're really trying to get out of it? Once you can clarify that, most of the things will follow. Right? The next one that leads is improving your digital footprint, which means that you need to go in and see what are those profiles you've already built, what do you have in there, and can you improve there a little bit? Can you introduce information? Can you link things you have published in the past, right, and so on. And then after that, you start to tell and see and identify your online engagement and how much you're engaging with people online. Because simply, you've got to put effort to improve your digital footprint and then engage with people to get some of that attention. You can't just have a profile, do nothing, and then suddenly hoping that someone will make you popular. It's not going to work. Just like with everything in life, nothing happens in 24 hours unless you are such a lucky winner of a lottery. Right? It's just not going to work. You have got to build up on it through hard work. And social media is no different. It's a hard work. Okay? But it can be a lot of fun, it can be very interesting. The next one is engaging, listening, and listening some more. So once you're engaging, right, let's say you're joining in a trend on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. You're not going just to add a comment to that trend or tweet. You're going to read a little bit, right? You're going to read around that trend. What are people saying? To get a feel as to what are those discussions. So that can give you some ideas as to what you're going to tweet about. And then you'll come out. It can be something controversial. It can be something totally different from what's being talked about. But again, you can do that, right? And one of those successful tweets a while ago was when the iPhone 6 came out, 6 Plus came out, and that bend issue that everybody talked about, right? And as that trend was going all crazy across social networks, KitKat came out with a tweet and they said, KitKat doesn't break, doesn't bend, but it breaks. And they put up a KitKat and how long does it take for you to break it, right? So it was just a nice way of engaging in that super exciting chat and super engaging chat, if you will, across iPhone and Apple. So you had millions, you didn't have hundreds of thousands of people, you had millions of people talking about that one trend. Now, they reached out to so many people with a tweet. And that's all it was. It was just a tweet, thought well through from their team, right? But it didn't cost anything apart from the time that they are paying for those employees that are looking after social media. Now, if you think about the amount of budgets you'll have to set aside to be able to reach out to those people with a message, you're talking millions, right? So social can be quite efficient if you know what you're doing. And some brands do know what they're doing. Because they are reaching to so many people, right? And it's all for free. So you have more than hundreds of thousands of people talking about KitKat in that moment in time, and that costed the company absolutely nothing. And if they had to reach out to those amounts of people, either via TV or any type of expensive marketing activities, that would be really expensive. Okay? Once you've done a good process through this, and then you listened and engaged with people online, you start to create some content, which some of it can go viral. Very unlikely, but it can go viral, right? A tweet of yours on a trend, it can go viral quite quick, okay? And if it goes viral, you become popular for quite a good amount of time. And as a result of that, you can get some of that attention, which can mean traffic, which can mean money, which can mean more subscribers, more members, whatever you're doing, okay? It can also mean that you yourself, in your profile, is getting more popular online because it's receiving more attention. So you get more followers and more subscribers. And then in the end we'll talk about the research task for next week. So, the power of social networks, we argue with some of the work in research, is related to these two things. The first, social connections, which equals social relationships, which then equals future business growth. So we're saying, and we're arguing that if you've done really well to build up some strong social connections, so we're not looking just at the numbers, we're looking at the quality of connections you've got, right? If you've got very good quality of connections, and then you are building up very good and recent and also serious relationships on social networks, you might get some good business. Because if you're building a very trustworthy group on LinkedIn, you can go to these guys and say, by the way, I'm introducing a new service. Could you please go for it and try it out? Okay? And those people who have already been exchanging messages with you, they have already given you a chance to build that relationship. And when you build those relationships, you can ask people for favors. They'll do them for you. Right? So in other words, you've shown to your consumers that you are being useful. Or to your business connections. And again, that's why it's always useful to go and help out someone before you need to ask them for help. Right? If you join in a LinkedIn group, before you ask someone to put you in touch with another guy, you try to help him out on a question that he's raised on a group. Same as your local garageman, right? He's always useful whenever you struggle with something. And the next time your car needs a repair, where are you going to go? Right? It's a no-brainer. You go to your local guy, unless he can't fix it. Because he's already shown that he's a useful guy. He's already built up a relationship with you. He wasn't trying to sell you. He wasn't trying to do anything. He was just trying to be useful. And by being useful, he's building up a connection with you. He's building up a strong relationship, strong ties with you. And first and foremost, anything you do in business, you pick up people that you can trust to work with them. Right? And if you have got that trust built thanks to strong relationships and strong ties among people, then you've got something. And you've got potential business growth. Right? Now, why that's the case? Why do we think that that's the case? Well, first and foremost, there are several reasons why we would like future growth in business. We talked a little bit about this a while ago. We might want just to promote our brand. So the growth can be about promoting our brand, getting people to try out our products, getting people to become a fan book, a Facebook fan page people, right? Also, we might want to get people to follow us on Twitter. We might want people to come and try out our customer support that we're offering. Or we might want to get people to view our LinkedIn profile. There might be all sorts of things that are related to the growth of the business. It's not always a sale, right? And social media in general, it is about making sure that you're being useful first before you're asking anyone to try out your products. Because that's what social is about. It's about connecting. It's about showing that you can be useful and someone can trust you. And then once you've done that, you'll start to see some of the growth depending, again, on your aim of your social media strategy. Remember that social networks are indeed a hub to your digital identity online, right? And that's what Solly said in 2011, right? And again, absolutely the case. Whether you're a business or an individual, whoever planning to work with you, they will do a bit of a background check on social networking channels before they reach out to you. Recruiters are doing it. Businesses are doing the same thing. If you're a business, right, and another business wants to work with you, they will do a pretty good check on LinkedIn, in your business page, and company profile, and see whether they can pick up an idea as to who you are. Are you genuine business? Are you trustworthy? Right? So all those checks now are happening across social media channels. And if you wonder why, this is not a made-up thing, right? It's because of the amount of information out there. We've never had this amount of information about brands, companies, trends, individuals online ever before. And having that information gives us a chance to learn more about those people and organizations before we start to work with them. So it's another word, qualifying someone for a business. Right? If you never had a business, right, in your town, but you saw them, the first thing you're going to do before you use their service is to ask your friends who use their services before you actually decide to sign up for it. You're not going to sign up for your local gym before you talk to your local guys. You'll ask them, what do you think? Is it good, you know? Right? Is it nice? Is it clean? Do they have good showers, right? Is it warm enough during the winter, right? Am I going to get cold if I go there? So you do all those things, but you just do them real time, offline. So all of those things are now happening online as well, in a much quicker way. And that's why we need to know how that's happening and what can we do about it. So when you build a social profile, I hope it doesn't look like this, because that is no good, right? And again, that just fails straight away from showing anyone important information about you and giving them any chance to work with you. They're just going to ignore you altogether. So, next one. I hope you don't have this white egg in your Twitter profile. That's no good either. Bless you. If you got that one, change, upload your real picture. Remember, social is not about being hidden from a society. It is about being true of who you are. Trust me, I still know lots of people who are on LinkedIn, they don't have a profile picture there. Sometimes even academics. They always say, it's privacy, it's good, I want to put my photo up there. And then I say, well, when you go to conferences and you publish your papers, you've got to submit your photo with that paper as well. You know the fact that that goes online? Yeah? It's going to be picked up anyway, whether you like it or you don't. So the idea of hiding things just doesn't really work anymore, right? Okay? So, that's something to be aware of. I don't really think this happens on Facebook because you are pretty quick, not just in uploading a photo, but actually changing it quite often. And always picking up the very best photo you have, right? So then you can get as many friends to like it and comment that photo as possible. And you say, oh, by the way, just reached up 100 likes. Amazing, right? Okay? And you always pick up the best photos. You never have a crazy photo up there, right? It just does, you never do that. So, how do we do that online? How do we succeed online with building up a social presence? Well, we need to follow a process and a framework that we call online engagement journey. Okay, and that framework has got 5 steps that we need to follow. The first one, after we created our profile, is to do what? Is to listen. Just like you would listen before you comment on any discussions that your friends are having. You don't do that. You don't interrupt them. You learn and you listen as much as you can. Now remember, listening is one of the key skills. And unfortunately, most of us fail quite badly. Right? You start talking to your best friend and after 2 minutes he's gone, thinking something else, right? Say, oh, wake up, come here, You're talking to me, right? And also research shows that in relationships, the reason why things fall apart is because one of the guys just doesn't listen, right? Doesn't pay attention to what's happening, right? So you've got either the wife or guys in general, like men, in general are not as good listeners as we should be, right? And we've got all these discussions happening, and then after 5 minutes we already forgotten about it, right? So that can be quite annoying. But again, that's why you need to be really good listener. So same as you're listening to your friend, talking to you face to face, you need to do that online. When you become a really good listener, you become a more insightful individual because you know what's happening. You can then reflect on that when you connect it. So when you're connecting online, instead of just saying, oh hi, my name is Hira, I want to connect with you, right? It's just a very cold, direct request. But if I was a very good listener, I'll just say, hello, my name is Hira, I'd like to connect with you because I saw your interest in this fashion group online, which I'm also part of, and I thought we can share some ideas. Boom. You've got a connection now because you were listening. And the reason why you might get rejections online from individuals that you might want to connect with is because you did no research whatsoever. You didn't listen. You had no idea as to what those individuals are about. You don't know which group they belong, you don't know what they like, you don't even know what they hate or like, you don't know anything because you haven't done enough research. That'll serve you when connecting and succeeding in connecting with people. The next one is about learning from those connections. Learning as much as you can around the industry, around the topics that you're trying to succeed online. And then after that, after you've learned well enough, you start to improve. You start to improve what you're going to publish. Because every phase in this journey helps you to educate yourself. By the time you're going to publish, it is very likely for you to publish something that is relevant. Because you listened, you learned enough, you connected with the right people, they didn't reject you, you kept engaging with them, you learned more from them, then you started improving your ideas, you started educating yourself. So then when you started to write those articles and putting those ideas down, they are useful. Because of all the previous steps before. Yeah? Now, how can we do that? Well, we need to experiment with social. We strongly believe that absolutely you've got to go ahead and do this, right? And the first thing to do, you start publishing things once you build up those profiles to experiment with social. You can start publishing interesting stuff, funny stuff, or thought-provoking ideas as well. It's fine, right? Just do not hurt someone. Do not make someone feel bad just because you said something, right? So be careful. Once you publish, you start tracking, and we will talk about social media monitoring tools, where you track how far your content is going. How many people is the content reaching? And what are they saying about it? When you're monitoring it, you'll learn quite a lot about it, and then you start engaging on those discussions that are talking about your content. And when you engage with those discussions, you are contributing and supporting and then building those relationships, which then leads you to the fourth phase, which is about assessing your conversation, you're discussing on the quality of your engagement online. So that's the four-phase approach to experiment with social online, right? And if you did that, you're very likely going to be succeeding in almost every individual social networking channel. So, things not to do, there's so many things, but when you start to look at the content, you start to get a clear idea as to why things don't work, right? Because in general, people people are trying to sell you something before even connecting with you. And there's sometimes places where I go in conferences or I connect with people or whatever it is, and before they even said, oh, nice to meet with you and it was nice to have this discussion, they start to tell you, oh, by the way, I've got a new book coming up, why don't you go and buy it? Okay? Or, also things that don't make any sense. For instance, there are brands who say things like, RT if you love our product, retweet if you love our product. There's no link, there's no image, there's nothing. That is useless. That is just about as good as you get to annoy people very much, right? So those are the things, some of the practices that are quite popular online. Retweet this and you win a free iPad. Retweet what? There's no link, there's nothing. What does it mean? Like, is it just, is there an image? Is there something? What does it make me feel trustworthy to do that, right? Follow, we don't follow. Thanks for reaching out. Please DM us, DM, which means direct message, your email, and we will be in touch, right? Now, I don't really know you much, or haven't had exchanged any comments with you, whether they're public or through any other means of communication. I'm not just going to share my email with you straight away. You haven't given me enough for me to be comfortable to share the email. It's not that we don't share emails, we share emails everywhere. But you haven't built up enough. You haven't brought that initial relationship to another trustworthy level where I'm about and happy to share that with you. I said this before, I need to remind you this again. Relationships are the new currency of the digital economy. If you are very good in building up strong relationships online, you will have not just a more successful business career, but you will have a more exciting business career as well, right? Because you sometimes meet some of your fellow students that maybe didn't do as well as you did with your studies, but they've got a much better job than you, right? Or maybe they have got much better placement opportunity than you do. And you say, well, how come that's possible, you know? I've done better in every module. But the reason why it's happening is because maybe those individuals, right, they went ahead and built up some very strong relationship with people in the industry, which given them a chance to get involved with projects. So having social connections all around you make everything easier. Because With a tweet, you can get someone to do a favor, right? With a tweet, you can get someone to help you out with an issue that you have with your project, or you can even get them to give you a chance in the project, because you have got some of those strong ties and strong relationships with them. Now, remarkable content helps you to increase your reputation online, and your reputation is everything. Whether you're a business or an individual, if you've got a really good reputation online, chances are high that you'll receive more business and more opportunities by default. And that's why companies work really hard, if you notice, especially on social, to come back to you, especially if you write a negative message to them. Because they don't want to have a bad reputation online for not dealing with customers. And now, probably this is a good time to do what I suggested earlier. If you bring up your phones, right, and I want you to tweet out the company, well, we could do this. We can either tweet out the trend that we like on Twitter now, or tweet out a company that you would like to share your views and ideas with. Or you can do both. You can tweet out a company and add the trend on Twitter as well. If you can think that far in the next few minutes, then let's do that now. So you can link a trend with a company that's doing a good job, or you can link a trend with a company that's doing a pretty bad good job. So check out what's trending on Twitter. It might still be the Monday thing, right? But let's see what's trending now. Let's see whether we can join some of that conversation and whether we can get some of that attention. And if so, how popular are we going to get by the end of the session if we did do well with that tweet? So bring on your phones, keep them on your desk, look at what's trending on Twitter, tweet out, don't worry, nothing is going to happen. Try to look into the tweets that are being sent around that trend and see whether you can contribute with something, or raise a question, or give controversial views or ideas. Have you done it? Keep your phones on your desk and then just see whether, well, just keep an eye on the tweet that you published and see what happens. See whether you can get some of that attention. And then we'll start to look into popularity of your tweet, of your content, of your update, and maybe see whether that brings you any sort of insight, maybe more followings, right? Or maybe people who will engage with you. Okay, so let's get going with the rest of the session. If you receive some answers, please let me know. We can quickly comment on them. So, how do we do well online when it comes to content? Well, the content that strives online is the viral content. Viral type of content. Now, viral content is very much that content that flies so fast. It's like a virus that spreads so fast across the web, to the point that it reaches out to so many people around the world, and also bringing you, at times, revenues as well, especially if it's a successful YouTube video, right? And if it makes probably over 100,000 views, you probably start to make just about 80 to 90 or 100 pounds a month. Right? Okay, so let's quickly look at some of the 100 YouTube hits that we've seen in the last years.
Leave Britney Spears alone right now!
Okay, so the reason why we want to show you some of those clips is because we like to get our thinking right when it comes to viral type of content. Now, content, as I said, that spreads very fast, faster than the web, sometimes faster than the virus, and the content itself can be an article, can be a picture, video, but it makes something which is funny, controversial, and of course God gets people to share. Now let's look at some of the work that was put together to try and understand why does this content goes viral? Why does it catch on? A good place to start would be the Contagious book from Professor Jonah Berger, and it's already in the reading list on Mojo website. It's really good because it just shows how and why some of the content and some of the ideas catch on. So he goes beyond social media. He talks about some other case studies as well. Berger and Milkman in 2010 from Walter Business School carried out a study called Social Transmissions, and they picked up that emotion virality of the content that sort of travels fast, so almost every social networking channel based on 7,000 articles on the web are the following, right? Well, positive content is more, according to the research, more viral than negative content. So things that are positive are more popular. The key is level of excitement. So if the excitement is so high, mostly positive, it gets shared more. Positive content that inspires amusement. Of course, negative content that inspires anger, anxiety, that gets shared quite a lot as well. Secrecy helps viral content to spread. So if it's something secret, it'll go viral quite quick. And Professor John, on his book Contagious, he talks about secrecy of a specific restaurant in New York that people are being asked to keep a secret about. And as soon as you're being asked to keep a secret of something, you feel more powerful because you've got information. And the idea that you've been asked to keep a secret is even more tempted to share with someone. Because you think, oh, I'm the only one who knows, so I've got to share with someone. But not everyone's someone. And then before you realize, everybody knows about it, right? So that can actually work quite good. It could be marketing for companies. People share hoping to raise social standing and also get some success into their online engagement, social media. Now, how can we create content that fascinates? According to research, these are some of the ideas. Passion, passion normally is quite important. Alarm, mystique, power, prestige, rebellion. Trust comes from familiarity and predictability as well. So these are some of the key ideas. Examples of viral content, we looked at some of those already. I'm not going to play Charlie Bit My Finger because we know that. You've seen it, you can watch that later on as well. But just some quick ideas, why this content went viral? Well, as of today, it has received around 835 million views, right? So let's dive deeper into it and do a bit of quick analysis. This is positive content that provides amusement, so amusement is the key in there. People shared it because it made them smile and think, oh, isn't that cute, right? Charlie, older brother Harry, reacts cutely to the pain Charlie inflicts upon him. In fact, we find funny that his brother hurts him, right? So secondly, there is a trust element in there. It's safe, so that the video can be enjoyed by everyone in the family. And nobody would be offended. Okay, so these guys went ahead and they created an app as well. That's just to show how fast things can grow. In addition to that, according to some research, their parents just earn just about $500,000 from the revenues thanks to YouTube, or even more. And they keep earning that for as long as their YouTube video is up there, right? And that was short 2 to 3 minutes video. That's all it was, right? How to increase virality? Okay, but first and foremost, we need to identify trends. We talked about trends earlier. Topics. We can do that using real-time search engines. Collect OneWrite or Google Alerts. And wondering what your tutorial topic will be. Well, it is about trying to make an attempt to create some viral piece of content. And you will have to go for some of these things to be able to do that. You can start to do some of these preparations before your tutorial time. So when it's your tutorial time, you can either start to publish something or show us what you've done, or maybe tell us about the success you've had in the piece of content that you have already published, right? So you'll start planning, you'll start to understand who your audience is, who you're trying to serve, understand where your customers hang out. In your case, where are those audiences of yours hang out? Define types of messages. What is that you're trying to say and why? Establish types of interest that message will trigger. Then you'll make your content, you'll publish, you'll share it, you'll measure it some more, because that's the only way of telling how fast your content has spread and how well you do it. Yeah?